Tell me, what do you get if you combine some 60s whimsy with some 80s angles? Let me show you. Now, before I whip this out and absolutely blow your minds, please bear in mind that this is just a little something that I've done. It's different, but I haven't ruined anything. So, you know, if you're the kind of person who gets angry about classics being used for different purposes and modified and changed, then this probably isn't the video for you. So I would suggest you stop now, because I don't want any hate mail. Okay? So now 95% of my audience is left. Let me show you. New for 2023, the Hoover Turboette. Yes, the Hoover Turboette. I have created something new. You ready? Here we go. Ta-da! The Hoover Turboette. So this is an interesting combination of 1960s Hooverette and 1980s Hoover Turbo 300 Powerhead. I won't lie to you, this is version 1 of this machine. There was a version 0.5 that I created quite some time ago, but it was basically a proof of concept. I didn't do it properly. I just basically wired the powerhead into the Hooverette's terminal block to see if the concept would work, and it did. So this is version 1 that I've spent the day working on to try and make it more professional, I suppose you could say. So let me show you. I think it's pretty cool. Here we go, just bring it into shot better. So yeah, this is the original 1960s Hooverette. Now, as I said earlier in the video, I haven't taken like the most beautiful Hooverette ever and made this thing out of it. This is, well, it's obviously old, but it's a discoloured Hooverette. It doesn't have any of its tools or attachments or anything, but I have another one on the way for the collection. So I thought that this was the ideal time to finish this little project off and to make this machine properly. Now what I've done is I've chopped down the wire on the Turbo 300 and I've used a little grommet up here. Just let me unwind the flex. You can still like wind the flex around it so that stays in place. Oh, whilst I'm here, anybody got any tips for cleaning this mould off this rubber flex? Honestly, I was cleaning this for hours yesterday and it's still like dirty black. And the stuff is still coming off. It's so hard to get this stuff off the cables once it starts growing on it. So we've got a little grommet here, you see, here. So this is from a Hoover Junior, and that takes the power cable from the Turbo 300 into the Hooverette. Now, this looks really easy. You just think, oh, you just put a grommet on the Hooverette and then you wire it in. Oh, God, honestly. There is so little space in this motor compartment of the Hooverette. So it's this bit here. This is the bag chamber. All of the motor and the electrics are contained within this small section here. And the terminal block, which is behind this cover on the Hooverette, is huge. It's like that. It's this massive, great big black piece of plastic with multiple connections on it. I basically simplified the loom of the Hooverette and then drilled a hole for the grommet to go in. So that then goes into the motor compartment, and then I drilled a hole inside here to run the cable through, because it's, how can I explain this? It's very hard to work on these because you have to get everything ready at the same time. the wiring and the terminal block and the motor all had to be ready to go in as one piece, because you can't take it out in separate sections. And it was even harder with the wiring for the Turbo 300 as well, to run it into the right place, to get the terminal block to sit properly, to get the connections in the terminal block, to get the switch connected, to get the motor connected, to get the wiring and the terminal block and the motor in together at the same time to sit in the right place so it all sealed up. It was very, very difficult. Very, very difficult indeed. And I kind of cheated slightly because I wanted the Turbo 300 to be powered separately from the Hooverette, because these Turbo 300 makes the ideal head for this, because you can turn this on and off independently of the Hooverette. I think style-wise, the older style electrokinetic power head that first appeared circa 1978 on the Hoover Freedom and then was popularised on the early 80s Sensortronics and Compacts, that would have been stylistically better for this thing that I've made. However, I really would not want to use one of those for this purpose. The Turbo 300 is the better choice for this because, as I say, you can turn it on and off independently of the Hooverette. I did want to be able to have this wired separately, so you could just plug it in and then just turn this on so it would run. I thought that would be quite cool. But in the end, because of the way the wiring loom was, I actually put the Turbo 300 in wiring series with the Hooverette's switch. So when you turn the Hooverette on, it gives power to the Turbo 300. That's fine. That's how most stick vacs work. As I say, you still do have the ability with the Turbo 300 to turn it off. So you can turn off the brush roll. There's the brush roll there. Very nice. This is a really nice brush roll as well. It's got plenty of meat left on it. So you can vacuum your hard floors with it. Although I will say that because it's a Hooverette and it's only 240 watts, 240 watts, not volts, it's 240 volts as well, but 240 watts with very tiny fans, it does not produce a huge amount of airflow. I can't imagine what it would have been like in the 1960s if this was your main vacuum cleaner, just a straight suction Hooverette. It would have taken you forever to clean your house. You would have been doing it forever. There's just such little suction and airflow from this tiny little motor. Oh, God, it would have driven me mad. Great for dusting your knickknacks, but probably not so much for deep cleaning your shag pile. No, not ideal for that. So one thing I really would have liked to have done, but I couldn't really work out how, was to make the Turbo 300 disconnectable, is that a word? From the Hooverette. And I think if I were to do this in version 3, I would probably take from a scrap Auric the connector from the Auric's handle that runs down to the main power head, and the wire that runs from the handle to the power head as well. And I would use those to make a socket and a plug that could be mounted on the top here, possibly because, as I say, there's such little room in there, or maybe put it somewhere else, maybe on the side, say, so you could disconnect the Turbo 300 from the Hooverette. That would be, version 2, I think. I will say, this works surprisingly well. It's quite shocking, actually. The Hooverette itself, as I say, is not the best Hooverette that I've ever seen in my life. It's slightly rumbly, not as smooth as it should be, but it still works. It still produces suction and airflow, so that's great. And obviously, you're right down here. You haven't got a whole hose to go through. You just, it's fine. It's just, it's enough to move the dirt away from the Turbo 300's brush roll. The bulk of the work is obviously done by the Turbo 300 in the agitation of the pile, and then the Hooverette just whips it up into the bag. So yeah, there we go. You can actually see it like that. There we are. So yeah, Turbo 300, Hooverette. That's probably enough of me waffling on. I suspect you want to see this working. So let's go into the lounge and give it a go. Okie dokie, let's use the Hoover Turboette. Let's see what you guys think. So the Turbo 300 is switched on. I've just turned the Hooverette on. And off we go. It's quite quiet, which is nice. And now, if we want to clean some hard floors, we just turn off the Turbo 300. And we're in suction mode. All 240 watts. That ain't going to do much. Put it back on. Very, very easy to use. It just glides over the carpet, and it actually does a pretty good job. Now you're probably wondering, how the hell do you empty this? Well, it's actually quite easy. You can obviously remove the Turbo 300 head if you want, but actually it's much easier if you just unclip like so, and then there's the Hooverette's tiny, tiny little bag, and then you can just take that out and pour it away. And as you can see, even from that, just that little run there, it picks up. It's not a huge amount of dirt, but flipping heck, a little 240 watt motor. Yeah, not bad. And we can just pop it back in, like so. And then carry on cleaning. Beautiful. And there we go. That's it. The new for 2023 Hoover Turboette. Available at all good electrical retail stores somewhere in your imagination. Please let me know what you think of this. Even if you hate it, just let me know, because I really want to hear your opinions on it. And if you want to do this yourself, do it. Have a go. Good luck though, it was not easy, but if you do manage to make one, send me a picture. Until next time, you guys take care. Don't forget to do the usual commenting, subscribing and liking, and I'll see you soon. Bye.